Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at Canon's newest RF lens, the NIFTY FIFTY B-roll. Okay, so this is Canon's newest lens. This is the Canon RF 50mm F1.8. And right off the bat, let's talk about price. If you're a new photographer on a budget and you're looking for your next lens, your search is pretty much over. You can pause this video right now, hit the link in the description, and go buy this lens. This lens comes in at about 300 bucks Canadian after taxes. And when you're looking into the world of lenses, that's relatively cheap. In comparison, Canon makes a F1.2 version of this lens that costs almost 3 grand Canadian. So the fact that you can pick up a prime 50mm lens now by Canon for the RF mount at 1/10 of the cost for pretty much a similar f-stop, that's pretty damn impressive. So there's a few numbers in there like 50mm or F1.8 that you didn't understand. Let's talk about that. An f-stop is a measurement of aperture, and basically the lower your aperture number is, the wider the lens opens up. And the wider the lens opens up, it lets a ton more light in, which greatly improves your image quality, but also gives you those beautiful, blurry, buttery smooth backgrounds that everybody loves. And an F1.8 is actually a pretty low f-stop. And again, like I mentioned, the fact that you can pick this up now for just 300 bucks Canadian after taxes is pretty nuts. Let's talk about image quality and background blur. Is this lens any good? So let's take a look at a few examples of some pictures I took with this lens. So this is a picture I took of my wife, and check out the image quality and the beautiful background blur. You would never guess that this image was taken on a $300 lens. This looks like something Nike would want for one of their commercials. So Nike, if you're watching this, I'm available. Here's another of our cat Theo. So I got pretty lucky with the timing on this shot, but check out the level of detail captured in this motion shot. A yawn is usually a pretty quick action that you can't really predict, especially for a cat. So the fact that the lens is able to accurately capture such detail in such a quick motion is so impressive to me. Let's talk about build quality really quick. So this lens is pretty much all made of plastic, but you know what? This is that industrial grade professional level plastic that they use in a lot of the higher up lenses. So the build quality on this lens is actually pretty fantastic. You also get the control ring, which you get on most RF lenses now, and you can really use this control ring to set whatever you want. So the ISO or the shutter speed, and there's also a little toggle switch over here. So this control ring also doubles as a focus ring. So depending on where your switch is toggled, you can really use whatever setting that you like. Also, the mount and the control ring are both made of metal. So that's pretty nice to have as well, since the old lenses were made of plastic. 50mm is a pretty excellent focal length to have for a prime lens. It's mainly used for portraits, but you can really use it for any everyday use case. So it's a perfect lens to have in your bag that you can pretty much use every single day. You can just have it attached to your camera all the time, pick it up, and be ready to go. For those of you who have the older EF lens, there's not going to be much of a difference. The few differences between this lens and the older EF lens is that, hey, you don't need the adapter anymore, so you get the newer RF mount. The autofocusing is a little bit quicker, and the minimum focusing distance is actually a little bit improved as well. So it's about 0.3 meters on the new RF lens, and it was 0.35 meters on the old EF lens. So it's not groundbreaking, but there's some improvements in there as well. So if you're tired of using the adapter and you're looking for a newer lens, I would say it's still worth it to upgrade just to start modernizing your lens collection for the RF mount, especially if you're on the R series now. One of the main things that you're probably missing out with on this lens is that you don't have the in-lens stabilization. So you're probably going to need to use one of the higher R series cameras like the new Canon R5 or the Canon R6 and make use of that in-body stabilization to get those stable shots. You could always use a gimbal as well if you're on the Canon EOS RP or the EOS R. Me personally, I'm shooting on the Canon EOS RP mirrorless system. And for most of you that know me, you know that I'm new to camera photography. I actually started off as a drone photographer. So this is my first fast aperture lens at an f1.8 basically, and I'm having a blast using this lens. It's a ton of fun. It feels super lightweight, super compact, and when you slap it onto the EOS RP, the whole system just feels so light, and you really feel like you can move around with it, keep it in your backpack, and use it for everyday use without really having to carry a ton of weight, which is usually the case for a lot of the more expensive, higher up lenses. Okay, so all in all, whether you're a professional photographer or you're somebody like me that's just starting out, I think you need this lens in your camera bag. There's no reason to not own it. It's super affordable when it comes to the world of lenses. The image quality and the results that you get out of this are super dope, and I promise that you won't be disappointed. So get out there, grab the new Canon RF 50mm F1.8, and until next time, keep creating.